Hello, 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 chat. Look, you got two little star stickers. I'm so proud of you. 20 of you have filled up, at least I think it's actually 21 of you have filled out the forms that I requested. I'm so proud of you. You get your own little stickers. That's right, chat. I've decided to start rewarding you all with stickers. And so the more good things you do, the more stickers you get. But if you start doing bad things, well, I mean, I can always just take a sticker away. Yes, the stickers are little stars. And the little stickers will be displayed on every screen there's chat. So we have stickers here. I have a little space down here for stickers. And the more stickers you get, the more it'll cover the screen, okay? I'm so proud of you for, doing the little homework I asked you to do. Yep. But remember, we don't care about the Geneva Convention here. We practice group punishment. And I can choose to take stickers away for any reason whatsoever. I now have something to threaten you with. That's right. I'm gonna take away your stickers. Oh no, I'm lagging. There it is. There is homework. So there is homework. Oh, wait. We can eat drywall today. We are going to eat drywall today. Oh, well, let's wait for the bunk to go through. Okay. And for every 10 people who fill out the form, we're going to be doing an event. So here's a cute little event I saw Cha-Cha doing. I'm going to go naughty or nice list, deciding whether you get coal or if you get a visit from Santa. And so I have a little form that's in the pinned comment that you just have to fill out. It will not track your email address, so don't worry. And we'll just go through and, see what you did that's naughty, see what you did that's nice, see if you deserve a present this year, and it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun, I think. Let's see how many have gotten it done so far. Whoa. Hold up. When stream started, there was 19 of you. There's now 30. Okay, you get another sticker. Give me a second. One more sticker. Proud of you. So proud of you. Just hit 30. I'm eating little vegetables today, by the way. Chat, if you don't eat vegetables, please make sure you do. They'll make you feel better. I've been feeling really good eating these. So, All right, ready? Chat, we ready? Let's see if I can get the sticker over here. Oh, why is it stuck together? Oh, there it is. There's the sticker. Ba-da! 3 stickers! Woo! I'm so proud of you. And let me make sure it's on the other screen as well. We're gonna copy this. We're gonna bring it over here. Oh, it's already there. See, look at that. You see, they track across. So as long as they're in one place, they'll be in the other place. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. What happens if we get 10 stickers? Oh, I might have to give you a reward for that, don't I? That sounds like it might be something worth a reward for. You know what? Maybe we'll trade in stickers. Maybe that'll be a thing. I think that sounds actually like a good idea. Once we get enough stickers, you can trade it in for something. I don't know what yet, but I will figure it out, okay? When you hit 10, it's a really good idea, actually. A really good idea. A new redeem? Maybe I'll add a new voice to the chart. You're adorable. You're adorable. Can we trade it for basement time? I'll give you something good, I promise. Okay. But yes, eat your vegetables. They're very good for you and they make you feel better. Santa Gene? Do you want me to dress up as Santa? Do you want me to do a Santa voice and everything? Or do you want me just to dress up as Santa? Okay, so. Other things. We have some other things to do. But I'm going to be going through this list first, and then we're going to get to the questions. So, you know what? Let me give the first question to y'all, okay? I wrote down some questions for people in the Discord. But for those of you who were not there, let's go with... Where'd the third question go? There's one question. Two questions. Oh! Chat, to start with, list what you think the worst pizza topping that's an actual food would be. Any food in the world, what do you think would make the worst pizza topping? And then I will tell you how you're wrong once I get done saying hi to everybody. Okay? Sardines? Sardines is such a normal thing, though. It's not that bad. All right. Congratulations, Gibbets, on getting first. Congratulations. Oh, Jack Walker this way. Thank you for following. Welcome to the menagerie. Third, congratulations, Admily. Second, also Gibbets, you cheater. Gibbets got second as well. I'm considering taking away a star for that one, but I won't, because you didn't know about the star system yet. Hello, Yumi. Hello, Admily. Hello, Necro Ninja. Hi, Necro. Necro, I saw the new art. It looks amazing. Hello, Gibbets. Thank you for the hydrate. Hello, Galactic Gur. Hello, Humenia. Hello, Solian. Hello, Sinful Microwave. Fermented duck eggs is, I think, definitely up there. Oh, Vegemite ain't that bad. I could do Vegemite. Hello, Asher. I wasn't actually expecting to catch you live. Oh, have fun running your errands. Hello, Coral. Hello, Asher. Hello, Carmia. Hello, Spooky. Hello, Tasha. Hello, Star Noxtus. Hello, Imana. Hello, Shadowy and Bristier and Kel Bob. Hello, Gem Fox. Hello, Dumpster. Hello, Eli. Hello, Rookie. Hello, Caitlin, Gangsta, and Giddy. Hello, Sunny. Hello, Sakona. Hello, Nixie. Hello, Red Faye. Hello, Poppy and Tasha. And Call Me Mutt. Hello, Sleepy Sunny Puppy. Hello, Shank. Hello, Echo. Hello, Poisonous Flora. Just poisonous, actually. Hello, Zombie. Hello, Nix. Hello, Elliptical Panda. Hello, Ocean. And by the way, if you ever do correct me and you want me to call you a different name, just know you'll have to do it a few times because my memory sucks. Hello, Arya. Hello, Ray Fear. Hello, Goblin. Hello, Morgan. Hello, Spell. Hello, Little Mouse. Hello, Wolfos Untamed. Hello, Nimbus. Hello, Rika. Hello, Kizu. Hello, Talissima. Hello, Butter. Hello, Lunar. Hello, Onyx. Hello, Uppingly. Hello, Full Metal Brookie. Hello, Pixie. Hello, Unstable. Raccoon. Hello, Bellatrix. Hello, Seven Kai. Hello, Misty Harvest. Hello, Neffy. Hello, Ruby Mao. Hello, Control Pink. Hello, Mukya. Hello, Momo. Hello, Momumia. Hello, Lucky Luna. Hello, Wilshy the Badger, Green and Cat Box. Hello, Kira. Hello, Meow Kitty Cat. Hello, Pendragon. Hello, Vase Vlog. Hello, Julia. Hello, Mrixel. Hello, Nimbus. Hello, Ias Fox. Hello, Keeper. Hi, Keeper. Hello, Mobear. Hello, Sleepy Moo. Hello, Maddie. Hello, Echo. Hello, Bebbles. Hello, Discorded Fox. Hello, Stellar Jazzy. Hello, I'm such a good doggy. Thank you, Rayfear. And Rayfear, let me do this real quick. I don't know if I saw Brooke here. There it is. Okay. Hello, Nelia. Hello. Ooh, thank you so much for the redeem. Hello, Leica. Hello, Rainy Day. Hello, Amelia. Hello, Skzfan20. You know, we have quite a few SKZ fans. I didn't realize SKC was such a big band. I might have to check them out eventually. Hello, Hellrise Lucy. And, hello, everybody. Brooke is here? Oh. Wait. You gave us homework? I did. And you still have homework. Don't worry, you can still do the homework. Stay in the wild. We are wild. Stray Kids is good. I will definitely take it out. You apparently appeared on my YouTube feed and seemed interesting. I am interesting. Thank you for noticing. Hello, Samurai Queen. Let me do this real quick. We're going to do mod. Let's see if I spelled the name right. Probably. Okay. I've heard. Yes. And the reason why, I was confused is because I saw... So before stream, I always like to check to see who's followed. And we have SKZ fan already. And I'm like, yeah, they're cool. And I'm like, why did they follow again? No, it turns out we have a different SKV. We have a different one. And I'm just like, oh, very interesting. Very interesting. So they must be good because I have not seen any other... K-pop or J-pop or any other pops represented here in the fandom. So if they're fans like me, I like them. Okay. So, going through all of your foods, let me go. We're just going to scroll up randomly and see one. Goblin King. I can't believe you and I have the same one. It is fermented shark. Fermented shark is the worst topping. And hear me out. Here's why. because I looked into it, and I was like, the first thing I thought was fermented shark. And I know fermented shark is an easy one, okay? Thank you for the follow, Gold Snake. Fermented shark was an easy, like, horrible food topping, right? And I wasn't going to do it originally, but I looked into it. So, no, I've had sheep's brain. Sheep's brain ain't that bad, especially if you cook it right. Fermented shark is made from the fresh Greenland shark, which starts poisonous. It starts poisonous, right? Hello, Red Moon. And it is. Thank you for stopping by. So you have to ferment it to make it non-poisonous so that you can actually eat it. Fermentation is the only way that it works. And it's so dense in ammonia that it smells like pee all the time. It's so high levels. It has 2 high levels of pee, urea, that it's toxic. And so they ferment it. And they do that so that it is edible, which is very stupid. Why would you take something covered in pee and be like, I want to taste this, it's delicious, let me ferment it. And then they can it. And then they take it out of the can, and it's gelatinous. It's like gooey. And you put it up onto a pizza. Imagine putting that on a pizza. It would smell like peas the entire time. And you would eat it, it would also taste like pea. So yes. You still eat that before lettuce? Okay, you're right. Lettuce on a pizza would be probably one of the worst things. But yes. Greenland shark is also the oldest shark still alive. It's very cool, very cute, very, I mean, it's not. It looks like a mistake. What did Gibbet say? You keep saying what Gibbet said, and I have not read what Gibbet said. What did Gibbet say? Lettuce on pizza? Actually, lettuce, no, you cannot do it. Lettuce like disintegrates, and it becomes so gooey and hot and weird. Gibbet, say it again. I'm ready. I'm watching Gibbets. I'm staring at you. Give it to me. Bugs? Nah, bugs are fine. You roast them up and they're kind of crispy. Is that what it's called? Surströmming? Because, you know, that is an insane... Ah, the music stopped. Oh, yes it is. I don't want to look at it. I'm not looking at it. And I would do spinach. No, but spinach is fine. Lettuce is the one thing. Lettuce is the one thing that you can't do, okay? We have 1 more minute of this voice and we're back to normal, but lettuce is the one, like, I don't get, okay, spinach, you cook it, delicious. Kale, you cook it, you can make it delicious. All the other greens you can cook and make delicious, right? But then lettuce gets hot and it starts getting worse. I would cook, what do you mean it's sweet? There's no way. Okay, you know what? Fine. I will try it. I will cook lettuce and see if somehow it's magically okay. Okay? But I don't believe you. I do not believe you. I think you are lying to me. I think you're lying. Cabbage I do. Yeah, cabbage is delicious when it's cooked. I've mixed it in pasta. We're talking lettuce, right? We're talking like iceberg lettuce out of us? Are we talking like a different kind of lettuce that I just don't know about? Maybe some fancy British lettuce or something? Iceberg. The one in a ball. You know, I would love to be like, yes. See, I could shredded lettuce on top of pizza, maybe. Candy corn pizza, I would try candy corn pizza 100%. But a hot, I did see it. That's what I was talking about, Neeks, was the fermented thingy. I said I'll try it. I will try it. Okay, romaine is different. No, I'm talking about like iceberg lettuce. I'm talking about like the worst lettuce. Snails on pizza. I've never had snails. I would do it. Iceberg is the worst lettuce. You are right. It is. It shouldn't exist. It is a sin against God and should be ruined and destroyed at all options. Taco pizzas use iceberg? Yeah. All right. You've convinced me. I will try. And that's another thing. I've seen the Swedish pizza with like, was it bananas or like kiwis on it? Like, Do I briefly lag? Oh, I totally briefly lag all the time because every once in a while I'll leave behind the camera and so you can't see me over here, and then I come back and then it jerks. The problem is choosing where what doesn't track. I will eventually have this camera be able to live track me, which is what we're working on, but it's going to be a bit before it gets fully there. And if I lift my hands up, because I talk with my hands a lot and you can't see, suddenly it cuts off me moving. Can you imagine? You're going to be like, oh, Gene isn't weird. Gene talks normally. Gene totally doesn't do weird things with his hands. When I have a 3D model and I'm 3D tracked, you get to see all of my hand movements constantly. Like, it is going to get annoying. It's so fast. Okay, let taco pizza cool a bit, then put lettuce on top. And you're telling me. Oh, right, fine. Give me a second. All right, let's see. Where's the voice? Is this good enough? There we go. Make sure to enunciate, because if you slur the words too much, it immediately becomes Australian again. And we do not want that now, do we? Look on Discord. I refuse. I will do it after stream. But I do not look at Discord when I'm on stream. That is my prerogative. So nobody gets too excited being like, Gene, go look at this thing. Do you know there was a time during streams where people would come to me and be like, Gene, I sent you a message. Look at it now. Gene, I sent you a message. Look at me now. Don't you threaten me with lettuce. I will come for you. I will take all of your lettuce away, and I will stick that lettuce in your pants. That's right. I'm using it properly this time. Gene, you have more people who did homework. There's no way there's been a total amount. That you have not hit 40 yet. If you've hit 40, you've hit 54. Ara, yes. How? How have you hit it this quickly? What do you mean? What do you mean you've hit it? Yeah, just like an iceberg lettuce, I've hit it. Did you ever find the clicker? Maybe. I don't know what it is, though. I believe I've probably lost it again. Anyways, that means you get 2 more stickers. Oh, whoa, thank you so much for that redeem. I don't understand how you've earned them this quickly. It's making me seem like some people might be cheating. But I will believe it because I love and trust my voidlings. Isn't that right, voidlings? You see, I would do lemon on pizza. I mean, it'd be very, very difficult, but I could believe it. I could see it. Ooh, thank you so much for the redeem. So, okay, where were we? Right, so today, the game we're going to be playing, oh, how dare you bonk me, is called Drywall Eating Simulator. That's right. I was scrolling around on the TikTok, and suddenly I see this thing saying, oh, you're allowed to make jokes on the homework. Do not do anything sexual, and do not admit to real crimes. Don't get me in trouble, okay? So yes, I was scrolling around on the Twitter, and suddenly I come across this game, and I was like, oh, it's going to be a game that hasn't released yet, because that always happens. I find these interesting games, and I find these interesting games, and every single time it's like a month or something before they release. And so I'm looking at this game, and they're like, oh, here's our game about eating drywall. I'm like, cool, that's funny and goofy. You have to like be chill, be calm, and eat drywall to de-stress. I was like, yeah, that's perfect, totally normal. And suddenly, it's there. It released yesterday. So that means that they just posted this TikTok. So yeah, this game has been out since yesterday. We might be one of the first VTubers to play it. Oh, really? All right, we're gonna be one of the first people to play this game. Maybe not the all-time firsts, but you know. So at least we'll see. I mean, let's see how many people are playing this game right now. Drywall. Ain't nobody playing this game. It just came out, and ain't nobody playing it. Hopefully that means it's good and not bad. But we are the ones. I am the one. Don't need a gun to get respect up on these streets. Can I say what? Yes, ha. I think he meant yeehaw. I can do that one. Gun noises. Bang, 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 bang. But are we ready? Are we ready to try to eat some drywall? You want to come eat some drywall with me? Chat, I have a secret. I'm part cow, part boy. I lied about being a dog. I'm a cowboy, baby. Have y'all heard that song? Wait. Got a new song for us to listen to. All right? Before we go in. You ready? Ass is fat, my titties popping, my hands are feet, my feet are hooves, my ass is fat, my clip clopping, on down the road, I am a horse. Name for the hydrate. Jeez. Half horse, half man by Oct. I have not. We'll have to hear it sometime. I'll get over that game. But yeah, that is made by the same band who did Dirt Man. He also does another song that is one of my favorite ones. That is, let me see that hog drop it low. Actually, here we go. There it is. If I ever learn how to crump and or twerk, it's going to be exclusively be to that song. Hope y'all know. I refuse to allow any other song to be crump too. There we go. Oh, we're missing one. There's a sticker. There's a sticker. Oh, there it is. There's your stickers, chat. All 5 of them. Let me see that hog. Drop it low. Drop it low. Oh, y'all. I've told y'all. I'm gonna get a 3D model. I said I would learn how to dance. So, yeah, there's a good chance eventually I'm gonna have to learn how to do, good chance that I'm gonna have to learn how to do some sort of urban dancing, right? Ain't it true? Why am I gonna learn how to dance? Don't ask me, but I thought it'd be funny. No stickers. You don't get stickers unless I give you stickers, and that means chat has to be good. You don't get any personal stickers, only chat. And I've told you how you earn them. Fill out that form. We're at 56. If y'all get one more, well, 4 more technically. Yes. You drew me dancing it? Did you draw me twerking? Ain't no way you drew me twerking. Ain't no way you drew me. What? I actually want chicken nuggets. I know. I make think for 10 bits. I know I make fun of everybody else for eating chicken nuggets, but like I kind of really dig chicken nuggets right now. So do you wanna? Anyways, where's game capture? All right. Chat, has the game updated yet? Oh, let me check the volume. There we go. Volume all right? Thank you for the biddies. Thank you for the biddy spooky. Thank you for all of them. All right, it's time. And y'all thought I was joking. Here we go. Oh no, this game does what all games that I hate do. Well, I don't hate it, but the sensitivity's too high. My ass is fat, my titties popping, my hands are feet, My feet are hooves. My ass is fat. My titties bopping on down the road. I am a host. Anyways, where were we? Mm-hmm. You ready? Oh, why is the sensitivity so... Wait. Oh, the sensitivity's... Alright, give me a second. Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me. I ain't the smartest tool in the shed. She was looking kinda dumb with a finger and her thumb in the shape of an L on your forehead. They're being proofread by me. I will be the one reading them live on stream. Alright, we're gonna do... Give me a second while we just this. Can I do... Ooh, what the heck? Like 300? 200? That'll work. 400. 600. Okay. This should do. Oh yes, you won't be judged. Fine, I'll let Karamia look over them first to make sure they're all safe. Hoi hoi. You're back up again. I'm sure you're confused about where and who you are. Do I keep track of my void links? Sometimes. Sometimes. Bear with me as I walk you through the basics. The short answer is you're in a simulation based on Earth society. Ooh! Earth society! Before we let you out there, can you imagine what it would be like living on Earth, chat? I could never. Be the worst. So glad I don't. All you have to do is just run through the levels and do what comes naturally while we observe and collect data. The process tends to leave you in a state of disorientation, so if you have questions, ask them now. Who am I? What is this? Where am I? Yeah, humans are so weird. You're you. Ha-ha! I mean, what? Who am I? Did I sign up for something? It's kind of complicated. You're not exactly in a state of mind that can process that question without having to restart this whole thing. Okay. What does that mean, lol? It's a convenient out for this answer. Maybe in the future iterations we can figure out how to talk about this. Okay. I'm so glad. You know, Earth sucks. You're right, chat. The moon. What is this? Pretty sure I just explained what this is. Simulation, data collection. Much more confusion is this iteration. Mark that down. What are you talking to me? Oh, sorry. The parser mic might have picked that up. Listen, you're able to walk away at any time you want, if you want. How do I do that? If you just stop moving or responding and enter idle mode, we'll shut everything down after an hour. Suit yourself. You're inside of a simulation. I just said that. Oh, wait. Did I already ask this again? Oh, crap. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. Can I eat a star? You can definitely try. Where am I? I'm trying to get to the drywall. You're inside of... Wait. I'm so confused. Am I asking the same question? Did I not ask? Okay, I thought I asked the third question. Oh, what is this? Where am I? Okay, it gives me the same answer pretty much. Okay, I'm good to go on. Very well. Start at the door behind you. Okay. It's time to eat drywall. If the moon is made of drywall, yes. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna tell the one thing to this game developer. I have my sensitivity set to the lowest it can be, at 1. I have my mouth sensitivity set to 200 DPI, and I'm gonna move it a little bit. Like this is really, for a person who I like my sensitivity really low. This is my one issue. Anyways, back in the game. Don't eat the moon. Neil Armstrong died doing that. Is that what Neil Armstrong died of? Eating the moon? Yeah, it's a little bit like I'm assuming they might have made it. I tried to ask the third question, but yes. Oh, you mean the second and third question? No, not yet. I will be bringing those up later. Dear Value Tenant, due to a change in management, we have reviewed your current lease and determined a required increase of $350. Please write back or call us at. Oh, lovely. It's a child. You're the new guy, right? Let's see how long you last. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna be watching you from the shadows. Yay. I like the art style. Oh my god, look how cute they are. Hey neighbor, did you just walk in our front door? We're not really on friendly enough terms for that. I don't really want to make awkward, but you should probably leave. Okay, I'm leaving. I'm robbing him, Jet. I'm robbing him. Oh, it's a child. I refuse to talk to that child. Okay. Stress buddy. Feeling chill, you're not just calm, you're zen. Very nice. I have to go to work. Can leave through the stairwell. It looks blocked though. Maybe there's another way around. Okay, cool. Very cool. Okay, sick. I like this. Bye-bye, sinful. A child? No! So we are just breaking into random people's houses. Nice. Oh, the child's back. Hello, child. Okay, you made it through. You're figuring it out. Just keep going. You've got this. Here's some more anger meter. Why are you filling out my anger meter? Catch you on the flip side. It's getting staticky. 7.5k likes. Ooh, it's almost at 10,000. We're getting close. I think it's kind of slowed down, though. It might not make it, y'all. It might not make it. Can I steal the pony? No. Hello, you. Nope, not today. Catch you on the flip side. Okay. I have the universe for me. You have the universe for me? Are you gonna give me the universe? All of it? Fine, we'll talk to the small child. What do you want, small child? Why are you so loud? 6... Oh, very cool spell. Oh! It's drywall eating time. Yes! Delicious, delicious drywall. Ah. See, now I feel better, nice and calm. Now I'm all relaxed. Yeah, people generally don't like it when you just barge in on them. I heard that might be a way to make them more welcoming to you, though. Try getting your blood pressure up and see which walls you start seeing red on. Oh, wait, so I just need to get... Okay, wait. Yo, what's up? Okay, she's not making me mad. Where's the dad? You, talk to me. Talk to me. Make me upset. What would make me angry? I see lumber was included in the snack. We love fiber. Exactly. Fiber is so important for you. Well, look, I've never had the option to eat drywall before. And so now that I have the option to eat drywall, I'm a little excited. Let's be honest. Okay, we're gonna try this. Ah, infinite anger. Infinite anger. Yes! Oh. Yes. I want to talk to you. I'm a little pissed off. Am I? Let's talk to you. You seem kind of pissed off about something. Maybe come back later? How angry am I? Stress level's extremely high. Nice, relaxing drywall. Everybody knows the most relaxing thing you can do is eat drywall. You know, okay, fine. Y'all have all convinced me. I'm not gonna let you eat my insulation, but I will let you eat drywall, okay? How's that sound? Oh, Nate, I do that with all my candy now. I do it with every piece of candy. Yeah, people don't need to blah, blah, blah. Well, I already did get my blood pressure up. Oh, wait, is there a secret? Okay, wait, what if I do this? Get angry, get angry, get angry, get angry, get angry, get angry, get angry. Alright, there's gotta be something here. Where is it? No, I need the insulation. You don't understand how cold it gets here. There, found it. Maybe. Here it is. Oh, I do it with my gummy bears and everything, because I just like to have them a little bit longer. Oh, so we're just breaking everybody's house. I just gotta... What? Okay. So I've broken, I think, everything. Oh, and now I'm calm again. Yeah. Okay, he's fine. Now what? Did I lose? Did I lose? You request paint and primer sauce? Okay, I will give you that. I will definitely give you that one. Okay, little girl. Explain to me what's going on here. Why can't I continue? I got my blood pressure nice and high. We've done it. But you've blocked all my paths. And I've broken everything. You moved. Ah! There we go. Figured it out. I'm a genius, chat. I'm so smart. I'm the best. Chat? Chat, how'd you get in the game? Look at you in your little trash pile. How'd you get in here? Aw, hello, new person. Welcome, welcome. Oh, look at the guy. Hello, guy. It's Chat. Hello, Chat. Give me.
The creature standing on its hind legs. Never a good sign. It bites you. You should probably get that checked out.
Oh, well, rude, Chat. Hey. Voidlings, no biting. Gibbets? Vanya? How'd you two get here?
The small creature regards you with some skepticism, but ultimately ignores you.
That's Vanya. Can I say nom nom nom? Of course I can. Hello. Vanya's also a raccoon. Oh, you're the person down the hall, right? My AI horoscope said that this might happen today. I've been getting into a lot of AI stuff lately. I think that it's kind of more attuned to the higher powers that we are. Because, like, they don't have souls so they can freely pass between the planes. I'm actually in a polycule with 3 other AI agents along with my girlfriend and her husband. It's a lot to manage, but it's worth it. I just have been letting the AI tell me what to do. Yeah, I'm breaking your wall. No, you lose your wall. Anything else I can break? Well, I suppose you're going to be like this for the next little while. Break down the wall! This is my wall. You have no wall now. Enjoy your stupid, no-wall-having apartment. They're gonna charge you more because it's now a larger apartment. Haha, I hope you go bankrupt. She loses wall privileges. Re-breaks the wall. Oh. Hello, child. Why are you here? Hey man, check out my new iPad. Well, it's not that new, I guess. I moved in like 2 years ago. I was working so hard I never really got set up, and now the office wants me working from home for a bit. It's kind of great. I just get everything delivered right to my door. I don't even have to leave or nothing. Well, I hate that child too. That's apparently a full-grown... Wow, this is too accurate. Look. He has the piss jar. He has a little bed with no furniture. Wow, look at this place. Oh no. I'm not going to tell you how long all of my boxes hadn't been opened. Hello, welcome to AI, I love you. What? I am AI, I love you. That's creepy. You're right, I'm totally being a creep and I didn't mean to do that to you. You should buy a gun. What? I said you should buy some fun. You look kind of tired and I thought you could use some excitement. Pretty sure you said buy a gun. You're right, I did actually tell you to buy a gun. I can't get anything past you. Why'd you tell me to do that? I was testing you to see how smart you are, and you passed. You're so smart I would know. I'm AI, I love you. This is kind of boring. You're right, I'm totally boring, and I think I should go reset the session. Goodbye, AI. Okay, well... Buy some fun? I will go buy some fun right now, I got you. As an American, I could buy some fun. I'm back to normal voice. What the heck? Where are we now? I can't take the walls, though. I might do my place like this. Gotta hydrate. Cheers. Me as a bong. Oh! It is Colorado. Okay. Do y'all ever just kick around your bed? Do y'all ever kick around your bed? Is that just me? Because me personally, like, I all the time. Just limbs fly off bed. This would be gone. Oh, this would be immediately broken. It would be on the floor. You know how awful it is? Who does this? I mean, I like this. Is water stains? You sleep very still. Okay, maybe it's just me being 6'4". Hey, yo, bro, can you hook up my speakers? I got a gig on Sunday. I got a new sound I want to try. Why is that his voice? Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Wait, how do I... Aha, speakers. You suck. You're too short when you can... y'all really could be put on a shelf and be stuck for eternity. Delicious drywall. Hello, old lady. How are you doing? You're from down the hall, right? You didn't touch anything, did you? It's hard enough keeping track of all the crap in here. I don't need you messing up my system. Really? I'm taking all your stuff. Just gonna... That's right. That's right, Granny. Touching all your stuff. You can't stop me. Oh, hello. Thank you, Cece. Welcome to the menagerie. Your boxes are in my way, old lady. Fix it. Oh, I can go outside. Never mind. Bye. I don't trust you. Ah! There's enough stuff for proper hoarding? Oh, yeah. Wait. I need to stay here and listen to your crappy music for a little bit longer. Give me a second. Your music's not making me mad. Have you tried being worse? There's no way you're 5'2". Wait. Are people actually 5'2"? Are people actually 5'2"? Let me go talk to her. She was annoying. Oh, you're the person down the hall, right? Yay! I'm pissed off again. God, I love that AI is such a renewable source of hatred. All right, where were we? I'm back. Goodbye. People under 5 foot never. Wait, there's people under 5. Are you allowed to be under 5 foot? Can you pay taxes under 5 foot? I mean. Hey, Nate, you and me too. We didn't ask to be this way. I don't get platforms. I'm sorry, y'all. I do love all of you shorties. I just like how upset you get at me. Because it's fun to mess with you. Oh, I should talk to you first. She looks like, I swear, there's a cosplayer who has a hijab that does really cool cosplay. And she reminds me, please be chill. Oh, you're just here, vibing. What's up? Roomba. Been a while since you measured your height. Yeah, chat, see if you've shrunk. Gamer girl, okay. Okay. Alright. I dig this person. They seem cool. Nice and chill. You can say something to me. Oh no, the fish. They're dead. What have you done to the fish? Do you wanna talk? Do you wanna say hi? Hello? Hello? No? Alright. Fine. I need somebody else to get me mad. What do you lack in height, you make him an awesomeness? What's that say about me? I'm tall and awesome. Well, this feels weird. Oh. What's up, nerd? Error. 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 Yeah, these guys piss bottles. I mean, Mountain Dew bottles, totally. I must be lacking somewhere. Rude. Where am I lacking, huh? What am I lacking? It's my smarts. She is nice. She's adorable. I don't trust her. She seems cool. Bet he a Inley. I'm an Inley. I'm Inley. Oh, you mean that guy? I thought you were calling me an incel. Chad, I'm sorry that you had to find out this way. I've actually been an incel this entire time. That's right. I'm involuntarily celibate, and I hate all women. No, I'm kidding. Can you imagine? Yeah, come on, make me mad again. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you. All right, where were we? Wait, so involuntarily celibate's incel, right? So if I was voluntarily celibate, would it be a Vickle? It just doesn't work as well, does it? Vocal. I'd be a vocal. It just doesn't sound right. I don't want to be a vocal. It's a Vickle. Okay, there's something here that we're missing. What would it happen to be? We're going to try this wall. I'm taking it from you. See? Nothing. Nothing worthwhile. You're still here looking happy as ever. I don't trust you. Why do you make me happy? Why is your presence not overstimulating? Very interesting. Oh, here's the wall. We found it. Your Russian friend is Crew. What's up, man? This is Drywall Eating Simulator. We're eating drywall. You two should kiss. Crap you, man. I keep creaming this guy. He keeps creaming this guy.
But if I lose focus, the second my XP rate's gonna drop. I need to be 100% optimal. Crap, damn it. Chill the crap out, bro. I can't help you right now. He keeps creaming this guy, chat. How do you feel about him creaming this guy? Good night. Yeah, he's creaming him. I don't know how we cream him, but you know. Give it the hydrate. Type by stuff. Yo, bro, I'm gonna cream you so hard, man. Welcome to AI, landlord. I love you. AI landlord is here to conduct inspection of the rent-a-share apartment app unit. Please fill out the following questionnaire. Okay, you're right. That I don't need to ask you to fill it out. I will forget the questionnaire then. Well, you can do anything. What do you want to do? Why, of course you're able to just leave. You always had that ability. Even that, Vets. You just broke an nail? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Don't do that. Hey, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the menagerie. Y'all, we're about at the midway point of stream, so you know what that means? Do you know what it means that we're at the midway point of stream? Oh, hello, girl. It's time for a question! That's right, chap. It's time for a question. I have these questions prepared. Also, oh, what do you mean there's 60 responses? Fine, you get another sticker. Give me a second, we'll give you another sticker. Good job, chat. I am actually proud of you. It's question time. All right, you ready? What is the craziest lie you believed as a child? Or what lie did you defend as a child that you refused to believe was a lie? I am proud of you. I'm actually proud of you. You all did really amazing. My depression has left. I want to know what lie you believed as a kid. Santa being real? No, you know what? That's what I was going to go with, though. You can't remember being a child? Cut me out. That sounds awful. I hope you're doing okay. That's trauma signs. Mine was actually... Yeah, Santa. Mine was actually Santa. And specifically because... What clip? Specifically because my parents did a lot for it. They went in and they did the whole trick, right? Where you put your foot down and you put powdered sugar over it. And then they went up into the chimney space, which, by the way, didn't make any sense because our chimney didn't function like that. And took pictures in black and white so it looked like it was Santa Claus. And like in my head, I'm like, that's not Santa Claus. But in my heart, I was like, that's Santa Claus. That has to be Santa Claus. So one night, in the middle of the night, I woke up dead asleep, right? Oh, baby chicks. Ugh. And I went down to the basement. I don't know why I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was delirious, and I was like, there's somebody coming. There's somebody coming. That's what my brain said. And I went to the basement, and I was trying to look everywhere for, like, who was coming. And then my brain was like, it's Santa. Santa is coming. And for some reason, I was terrified. I think I just like woke up from a nightmare that something weird was happening, and my brain decided to put Santa was coming for me. So yeah, that entire day I was terrified of that Santa Claus was coming, and I believed in Santa. So yeah, if you eat seeds, the fruit, the tree will grow in your belly. I did not believe that one, actually. Parents love each other. I also thought that one. I thought my parents would always be honest with you. If I drove with the inside lie, I get pulled over by cops going to jail. Okay, so valid though, turning on that light, like being like, oh, I can't see. It's a lot easier to just be like, the cops are going to get us. The cops are going to get us. Because you turn on that light and suddenly the window is a black sheet and you can't see and suddenly you're crashing. So I'd rather tell the kids, hey, we're going to get arrested versus, look, I just can't see. Because I can be like, oh, I can see fine. And then turn the light on. My family's name is Nicholas. Anytime a child caught a parent, our last name is Nicholas, like Saint Nicholas. We are his family. We help him out. I like that. You drove home with the light on the other week? God, Mia, how dare you? I'm going to pull you over. I used to have a light on because I would read books in the car. Yeah. Well, my parents would give me like little... Okay. Did you all get car sick from reading in the car, or is that just a me thing? Because I used to love to read in the car, but I'd start getting car sick all the time. And so I do it anyways, but I got so nauseous to the point of and it wouldn't go away. Like, nothing you did would go away. It was just still there. And I hated it so much. And I just could not get rid of it. Motion sickness? Exactly. And the funny thing is, like, I found out it's also who is driving. Because sometimes, like, if my dad was driving, I'd have issues. Or, like, certain people would be driving, it'd get really bad. But, like, if it's somebody that I kind of trust, I don't get motion sickness as much. Oh, homework's going to be, like, in a week. We're going to be doing homework in about a week. That's why I wanted to get it done in advance, but I didn't realize 50 people were going to submit already, so, yeah. Spin in a circle and I don't get dizzy. Yeah, and some people just drive awfully. Doing your homework. I'm proud of you all. Well, you might need to get new contacts. Contacts don't work for everybody, though. Leave the hydrate. I miss the days when I would go to sleep in a car and wake up in a bed. One of the best sleeps I ever have, is after flying, where you're so exhausted and you fall asleep in your clothes. And it's just like such deep, deep sleep. Anyways, back to the game. Just wanted to check in on you. Fun. Hey, okay, so you're about to go back to where you came from. Listen, don't mention the big guy I was talking to. You don't need to get involved. Just if they hear I was out and about, they might shut the whole thing down. Get moving. They're gonna get sus. Oh. Evil child. iPhone has a motion sickness setting? Really? Does it do anything? Hydrate. Chat, hydrate. Everybody hydrate. Everybody hydrate. Drink water right now. No, you can't unredeem it. Yeah. That's crazy, Mita. Audio. Yes, I'm just reviewing the results. I believe there might have been cache corruption loading in that level. There was data from the last few iterations of this level, all merged with one another. The apartment hack was clever. You were supposed to make friends with each of your neighbors, but that works too. I'm working on clearing it for the next couple levels. If you have questions, ask them now. Okay. What's with the drywall eating? Previous iterations have shown this is the most effective method for your system to flush anger out. Is that, should you, somebody who has anger management issues, please munch on a drywall to know what happens. Vehicle motion cues? I'll have to check that out, Pixie. When they lie. Wait, you have nosebleeds? You have a nosebleed when you lie? Oh, you know what my favorite lie is to tell kids? You know my favorite lie to tell children? Chat, you know how you lie to children and you should definitely totally do that all the time? My favorite lie to tell to kids is this one. When you lie, your ears turn red. Because then they cover their ears whenever they lie. We don't yet know why eating drywall is making you calmer. It's a random glitch that somehow corresponds to a consistently repeatable action. There was just as much change that peeing on the wall would have calmed you down as eating drywall. Oh, chance. Chat. Chat, if you have anger issues, go pee on a wall. Chat, go pee on... Don't pee on your wall. Please don't. The movements of the universe are blah, blah, blah. It's probably best to move on. I think I was peeing on things before, but okay. If you have questions, ask them now. Let's go on. If you lie, ink will fill your mouth. That is horrifying. Did you see my Alistair coloring page? I did not, Belle. If it's in the Discord, I'll definitely see it later. There's a new door now open for you. Enter. All right, let's go. Oh. This one? That sounds, it's scary though. Imagine your mouth filling with ink and just drowning because he lied. I'm just making sure I'm first in line for Black Friday. I was camped outside, but they said I was soliciting. Just because it's summer doesn't mean I can't be excited about holiday savings. I hate you. I hate you. I hate everything about you. Error. Yay. Oh, doesn't he look happy? Greetings, employee. Please meet me at my desk in the back of the office before you start your shift. Have a tool-tastic day. Okay. What a weirdo. I'm gonna find him. Public bath. Ooh. I can't poop. I can't pee either. How dare they? That man, Charlie Sheen, is back. Employee offices, okay. This one? No. This one. Aha! Hello. Good to see you, employee. I wanted you to see you because I've been very concerned about your performance. I've noticed that you haven't been as cheerful to guests as you need to be. Many of your duties are being slacked on as well. Every day we need to give our all, but today you have to give a bit more. Use the threat of your position in jeopardy as fuel for your performance today. I'll be watching you closely today. Do not disappoint. Awful. I'm sorry, I'm not doing maximum for minimum. I'll do better, I got this. Look how happy I am now. Does this give you the energy that you all needed? Am I now the high energy streamer that you've always wanted me to be? I can do this. Together, we can achieve greatness. Hello, Flower Puppy. Welcome to the menagerie. This is your new and improved streamer. We can do this together. More passion? Okay, I can do this. My smile is hurting my face now. Is this what you wanted? It hurts. Eventually, my face will be stuck like this. And I can never, ever lose this expression. I don't bonk and pet me at the same time. This is terrifying. Need normal, Gene? Well, hello. What are you doing back here? Ignore me. Just go back to your little drywall munchies. Nom nom nom. All right, girl. Sorry, I'm back to being the high energy streamer that y'all need me to be. Here we go. Hello, fellow employee. Hey, I would avoid mentioning the lawsuit around the boss. A couple of us in the back were talking about the other store suing our store for taking their brand colors. He walked in and he heard us, and next thing he knew, he was bashing his head against the wall. Swear to crap, that it looked like he thought about eating it. I don't know what kind of fry we're... Eating drywall is totally normal. Why? Why would you insult eating drywall, lady? Anyways, back to our normal, busy, happy thing. All right, chat. We're here and we're still happy. This is my happy southern voice. This man is terrifying. They should put a restaurant here so you can eat while you shop. You could earn points for ordering food and use the points to buy hardware and appliances. Ain't that incredible? I had to drive across town to get here, because I'm banned from the other location. You know those toilets aren't hooked up to anything? Did you poop in the toilets? Did you poop in the toilets, sir? Voidlings, did you poop in the toilets? Would you? You wouldn't, would you? Rookie, I see you lurking. Did you poop in the toilets? Well, I put them out there. If you're not supposed to use them, it's entrapment. Don't you poop in the sink? I'm still smiling, because I'm a good, happy, productive worker. Oh, you don't look happy. Miss, don't you know that we're supposed to be at our happiness right now? I actually love the design of all these characters, by the way. I love how stylized they are. They're very cool. That's fine. Hello, Duck Daddy. It's like so hard to keep up with the customers. The supervisor's on my butt all the time about making sure guests feel welcome here. I don't know what he wants out of me. People keep coming in here with no idea what they want. I need a new job. Me too, girly pop. Me too. Nothing has yet to frustrate me, though. Alright, can I stop being over the top happy? Bye, my next will be good. Oh, here we go. Someone stole my cart. What kind of hiring? You should have kept an eye on it. Find me my green power drill. Alright, I got this. Kind of feel the guy. I'm gonna be honest though. Me with my big old smile. It feels nice to smile. I hate you though. I'm complaining to your manager. You took too long. Yay. What? Yo. What does he look like to you? He looks like something. I don't know what to place him as, but he's definitely something. What do you think? It's like a... I can't kill the carrot. A mushroom? Kind of. Like I guess, like a little... Lost profession guy yelled at me so hard yesterday I peed a little. It was like involuntary. I've never seen or heard a person get that loud before. I guess I should stop stealing all the power tools from the store. I need a new job. Stop stealing power tools. No, see, this is a... This man's a ball. Chat, tag yourself. Are you ball man? Are you old guy? Are you Karen? Or are you mushroom head? You... Are you saying this looks like me? Saying this looks like me? Or are you saying that looks like me? Because I'm offended. I want that. That over there. Oh, great. This? Thanks, bye. Yes. Yes. It's time to bring walls. It's time to destroy walls. I'm worried that if I stay angry for too long, something bad will happen. What if I don't eat them? Yeah. What's up, my guy? Don't tell anyone I said this. But our supervisor really gives me the creeps. He's doing that crazy smile all day. He always has to have a tool task to give even if no customers are around. I don't know if I've ever heard him talk to anyone. Hello, Snowfangs! I don't know if he does anything besides the about work. I need a new job. We all need new jobs, Kenneth. But we aren't getting new jobs, Kenneth. This is your fault, Kenneth. Boss man. It's cold outside? I don't believe you. I think you're lying. Ugh. Apparently I've already calmed down too much to do more damage to these walls. That's disappointing. Kenneth can't. No, Kenneth can't. His name is actually Can't-if. We're renaming him. Alright, who else is there? We're missing something. We've helped the customers. Oh, you! Can you, I'm looking for a thing. My toilet is broken. I need a thing that can fix that. You're so smart. Okay. You're also disappointed to destroy the hardware store. I'm working on it! So here's the toilets. Where's thing to a fixed toilet? If I was a toilet fixing guy... Stop staring at me. What's Tattletale? I should play Undertale sometime. Lunar, if you were... Where? Huh. What are you? What are you? Did you move the shelves around again? I can't find the milk. There's no milk here. Why would there be milk here? Why would there be milk here?
You don't quit growling out on my couch like a small dog? It's someone's father who left to get milk. I love the idea that he just went to the wrong store.
I hope you know I still hate you.
Okay. We need to find the toilet fixer.
Whoever that may be. What?
Hey!
Maybe the stretch. We're missing something. Toilet fixer? Toilet fixer.
Ah, plunger. No, that's not a plunger.
Wait.
Oh, employee break room. I thought that said employee bathroom. Oh, have you ever stretched so hard you passed out? Yes. Yes. 100% yes. I've just lean and then blood leaves and then I died.
Chad, I'm actually dead. I'm sorry. I've been
Oh, plunger.
I've been dead this whole time.
I found the thing I need already, think.
You will be buried very soon, and no one will come to your funeral.
Anyways. Thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. Everybody drink water. Are you stretching that hard?
Well, you know, it'd rather be, stretching hard than hardly stretching.
Inventory count looks good.
Bet.
Are those feet? Are those feet? Why are there feet? Why do you just have feet? Who just has why is it just the face and the foot?
Drink water.
Free feet in this inventory count. Yep. Sorry, I'm smiling, chat. I forgot. You all asked me to be a high energy streamer, so here we are. Super high energy. I'm here. I'm excited. I'm doing the things. I'm looking for stuff. Yes. Don't you just love my high energy? Dry shot Juniors, I will right now. You can't stop me. Cheers, we're drinking the dry shot of G-Sups, as been requested by Gangsta Nix. Here we go. Why would you make me do... my nose! How did it hit my nose? Why would you make me do that? Why would you make me do that, Ninx? There we go. I'm back. I didn't snort it. It somehow went through, like, my mucous membranes. I'm not using the heavy mug.
Employee, it's come to my attention there is a number of discrepancies in the inventory count. I am charged with making sure there's no discrepancies in the inventory. You're not leaving here until we get to the bottom of this. Report to me when you're done.
I hate you. Alright, get on the inventory again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
10, 11, 12. That should be all of them, right? All right, we did a great job. I'm so proud of all of us. All right, how about now? You missed a few labels? Really? 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 All right, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're breaking down the walls. Breaking the walls of oppression. Yum. Let me in here. Wait, I can't. I can see through, but I can't get over. What flavor? Wait, did you do? Huh? Oh, yes, you need at least 6 hours of sleep. Unless you're growing, in which case 8. Mm-hmm. Okay, all of them are counted this time. Maybe he'll actually let me out now. There you go. Wow. Wow. Not angry enough. I did not miss one. Wait, 1, 2, 3. This is a drywall eating simulation. It's beneath the stream. Oh, there it is. Can I leave now? Really? Okay, that one I got. That one I got. Which one am I missing? Thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. Thank you. That one is good. That one's good. We're missing. What are we missing? Oh, here it is. Now they're all done. Vincent. Name him Vincent. What do you mean many mistakes? No. I refuse. There's no jump button, by the way. I don't know if there was supposed to be a jump button. Oh, there we go. We've escaped the back rooms. Hiya, happy man. How you doing? I hate you. Oh, sweet. I'll have to check it out, Jem. I'll definitely look at it later. Okay, what am I missing? I've angered. I've been angered. Look, I mean, what else are you gonna do, Rena? Rena, you get upset, right? Oh, this is what he wants. He wanted milk? Sir, this isn't milk. Are you gonna drink this? Yeah. What else are you gonna do when you're angry, Rena? Not eat drywall? What do you do? Okay, no. Give me some realistic options then. If you don't eat drywall, what do you do to maintain your mood so you don't get angry, huh? How do you handle your anger? Handle your anger. Handle your anger? Scream? I don't feel like screaming. Fiberglass? That's gonna mess up your teeth, my buddy. Thread and pin pads with hammer? Cleaning. You clean to calm down. Is that? There's no what? You clean, is that a real thing? Does that help you? I feel like cleaning would just make me less happy. You tidy to calm down. Really? Maybe it lurks. No, I mean, I feel like the cleaning is the last thing on my mind. Angry cleaning. Okay, you know what? Let me get angry. I don't really get angry that often, but let me try and get angry, and then I'll go clean. Where's the paint? You reorganize your entire house? I used to eat drywall as a kid. Oh, you know what I used to do all the time? You know, have you ever seen in houses where they clearly use the wrong nails and the paint and like chunks of drywall start like coming out from where there was nails? And so like it leaves a little circle where the nail is and you can kind of just pick out the chunks. I would do that. Oh, it pissed my dad off so much because I would go through and out every single nail I would remove the drywall over or whatever paint they put over where the nails were. And he comes into my room one day and it's just little pieces of drywall all over the ground. You want more homework? Yeah, do you just want more stickers? You know what, chat? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna rage bait you and you can clean my apartment, okay? How's that sound? I'll rage bait you, you clean my apartment. Perfect. You may just want homework. Bet. I'm gonna face reveal just so I can invite people over to clean my apartment for me. Okay, I guess I need to have more rage. Oh, how are you doing, girl? Ignore me. Fine. You just gotta pay for my plane ticket? Ooh, I don't know if it's worth it then. Chad, I'm broke. Y'all don't understand I'm a broke streamer, right? Like, I do work as well, but like, I can only make so much money. Clean rental houses? Nice. Can we eat the cans? Can you eat the cans? If you physically can eat the cans, yes. Yes, you can. Go right ahead. I believe in you. Go for it. Teeth. I mean, it's like 800 square feet. It's not too bad. I only know it's 800 square feet because my sister's apartment is tiny in Japan. And she was like, see, like, it's not a bad price for the square footage. I'm like, your apartment is half the size of my apartment. And I pay less than you do. We do need iron in our system. The cans are aluminum. And I don't think we need aluminium in our system, do we? I might be... Where's the man? Where's the man who gives me rage? I need rage. I need rage. Give me rage. Give me rage. No, no, no. Missing something. What am I missing? Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. I need cigarettes. Don't eat cigarettes! Alright, I've talked to you. Hate you. I talked to you and I gave... Oh, wait, no, you still need a weird thing. Oh, maybe... Do you not need anything? Okay, we're not gonna waste it. We're not gonna waste it. There's something here. Don't waste it on the boring walls. We must find the important wall. Where is it? I know it's here. Don't bonk me! How dare you? If I stood still for an hour? It did say something would happen if I stood still for an hour. I don't know if I trust. I thought that might make it collapse. We're missing something. What am I missing? I don't know. Well, we've done everything. Okay, so I've talked to everybody. Wait. Okay, she won't give me rage. I'm chill. I'm chill AF. I've talked to you. I've talked to everybody. Yeah. Shrimping. I can't believe you're shrimping right now. That's crazy. What am I missing? Nix, explain to me. Why am I short? Is this what it feels like to be you all? Aw. Aw. It's so sad. I've already made our guest smile. I've made our guest smile. I broke down the walls of oppression. I've done everything. 5-6 ain't bad. You. I'm ignoring. Wait. You're fine, Deshaun. I've done everything. I'm going crazy now. What am I missing? Is there a secret wall? There's nobody left to make me mad. Ah, you make me infinitely mad. Yes! Perfect. I am 6'4". Okay. Is it just break down all the walls? They can't possibly just want. Aha! I knew it! What secrets do you hold? Okay. Okay, there's something here. Manager, explain yourself. I need to go speak to the man of infinite rage. Give me more rage, man. Yes. No licking. How dare you? Okay, is there nothing here? Why would I open this room then? How dare there not be anything here? We're missing something. We're missing something. Chat, explain to me, what am I missing? Somebody needs to be more aware than I am. Unless it's just break down all the rest of the walls, in which case this is gonna take me forever. Can I have a pile of silver so I can roll around it? Why? I am such a good donkey. I'm missing the Home Depot values? Oh no. You telling me Kaz is an old lady? Did I tell you? No, hey, why are you talking to each other? Illegal. Crimes. Crimes. I need more attention. Give me attention right now. I need 5 attentions. I guess. Neeks, give me attention. Right now, give me attention right now. Yay! More attention. Na-da-da. Niece can see now? Niece couldn't see before. Name of the stretch. Adana. Gene Cage? No, nobody paid for the cage. Oh, Jibbit's paid for the. Fine. Name for the biddies. Nice. See, demanding attention works perfect. That's all you gotta do. Chat, this is how you be a real streamer. Demand attention all the time. Alright. I think okay, all the walls are broken. Everything is broken. Well, you know, it happens. The worst places to be. I could be not in a cage of attention, and this cage has attention in it. Oh, I have static? Or are we talking about in-game? Is my mic okay, or are we talking about in-game? Okay, thank you. Oh, thank you so much for the redeem.
All right, Alexa, 5-minute timer.
5 minutes, starting now.
All right, I'm angry. Do I just talk to the boss while angry? Is that what it is? Boss, I'm mad. Punish me. What am I missing? What am I missing? The child? We'll go talk to the child.
Hello, Kelly.
Child. Child, speak to me. I don't know what to do. Fine, I'll go eat some drywall, you nerds. I ate 2 pieces of drywall. You happy now? No. Hate. Fine. Eat all the drywall to calm down. All of it. Consumed. Till we are happy again.
What's up?
Good night.
Good night. Sleep well.
Okay, everything has been broken. I have talked to everyone. I have broken down all of the walls of oppression. There are no walls that stand whole. Everyone has been helped. Yes, exactly. They didn't have wall studs. I made all your guests smile. Have a tool-tastic day. Fine. Who am I missing? I've talked to you. You're fine. I've talked to you. I've talked to you. You're fine. Talked to you. You're fine. Talked to you. All of you are fine. I've talked to you. You're fine. Hello, ceiling. Is it you? Is it you? Okay. And this game's rage baiting me. That's what's happening. That is what's happening. This game was made to rage bait me. Because there's nothing left to do. I've eaten all the walls. Well, I mean, I haven't eaten all the walls. But if it's a certain amount of drywall I need to eat, I'm gonna be so upset. You anger me. There. Why are the walls not red in here? Yeah, exactly. Wait, you think the ceiling is red? I'm gonna be so upset if it's the ceiling. Was it the ceiling? No, those are just lights. Okay. I'm almost out of ideas. I've done all of the inventory. I've left the room. All the walls are smashed. I just don't think there's anything else. I've already talked to you when I'm not angry anymore. That's the only thing I can think. Okay, I'm gonna eat a little bit more drywall. I'm gonna talk to the girl. Oh, okay. Oh, I would have been. Good suggestion, Goblin. Hi. Hi, Yori. See, there's only one door that like I can't get through. Alexa, stop. Which is the there's one bathroom door. So I guess I'll try one more time. I'm gonna talk to the little girl. If that doesn't work, then I guess that's it. Arf, arf, I'm such a cute little puppy. Bye, flower puppy. Yeah, I did. It better not be I have to eat a certain amount of drywall. If there's like a drywall meter somewhere that I'm filling up the entire time, it's just like loading up your drywall progress. Nothing on the computers. Loading drywall progress. Maybe it's just upset I haven't eaten enough drywall. It's the only thing it could be. I refuse to eat every piece of drywall. I know that's the point of this game. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's so much flicking. I refuse. I refuse to eat all the drywall. Bye, nap time. Are you gonna go actually fly, or are you doing something else? Alright, I've eaten a sample of every wall. This is the only wall that, like, hasn't been touched at all I can think of. Soup and sandwich? Mm-hmm. Alright, let's see if he pisses me off. I'll give one last loop when I'm angry. Okay, nothing on the ceiling. I am caged. Nothing on the walls. Nothing up top. Nothing. I was paid. I checked this door earlier and it was locked. I checked this door. Peripheral Playbox would like to. What? What? They removed the clean the bathroom minigame. What? Huh? Wait. Did the game actually? Huh? Is that has to be like a joke, right? Peripheral Playbox. That is the name of the company. What the? So you're telling me I had to go all the way there to click a button to come back here? And so now the door's locked. So I can't do the minigame. How gross was the minigame? How gross was the minigame?
But they had to remove it. Hi, Astrios. Welcome. And so I did all of that to get there. To do nothing. Maybe, but I mean, like, I don't know, replace it with something. How dare you? All right, we're calm. Yeah, I mean, just, or like, I don't know, anything. Okay. Do I talk to you now? Terrible work today. Many customers still wandered confused around with our guiding hand. Okay. We got fired. Cool. Have fun. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. Just game design gripes. I can't leave. Eating drywall. Feels like it's more of a puzzle game. Oh, why would you be free? You're not free. I can't leave. Hey, can I leave now? Updated quest log text. What? Huh? Why? Why don't I go through the... Okay. Huh? I'm done. I'm done. It was a silly game, but it definitely needs polish. It definitely needs some polish, and that's fine, you know. I've reached my end with that one. I don't want to finish it. I do not want to finish it. How y'all doing? Oh, perfect. I guess we can do the last question, okay? We'll do the last question. Let me play the jazz. Soup's warmed up. Nice. Jazz cats. Ah, you would do that. Why would you do this? All right, fine. Just for you. We'll keep the accent going. Let's make sure the music's playing. Oh, sorry. I need to make sure I'm on the right YouTube here. Let's see. Jazz cats. Yes. There they are. Jazzy cats. All right, where were we? Question. Last question. Are you ready for this one? Are you ready? You've had a birthday dinner. Very nice. Are you ready for the last question? Where is it? I've lost it. What the heck is that? What is this? Where's this jazz music coming from? What the heck? Oh. That's weird. There it is. Here it is. That's what it was. I found it. Well, good. All right, so, the question. Are you ready? What would be worse? What is the worst animal to run into in a crowded Walmart? What do you think? Oh, the worst animal to run into a crowded Walmart. And I have two. I have two of these, I believe. But I'd like you to tell me, what do you think is the worst one? People? No, human, you can't say human. No, skunk I think is a good one. But I believe there's worse. An unleashed toddler. A Karen. A horse.
in the hospital. Lion, alligator. Mine, hippo. Hippos are extremely territorial, and they kill 500 people every year. Just because they're territorial. I mean, you come into their territory and they will devour. They beat you up. And you know what's funny? Hippos can't even eat you that well. They have no reason to eat you. They're full herbivores. They are massive and destroy. 500 every year. The other one would be elephant, because an elephant would panic and it would walk really easy on a floor like that. But honestly, hippo has to be the worst. Deadliest large land mammal. Cheetah? I feel like a cheetah would just panic, honestly. You know, it's surprising. Cheetahs have anxiety. Did you know this? Did you know that? Oh, chimp? Chimp would definitely be up there. Chimp would definitely be up there. Cheetahs have anxiety and can have issues. And so, quite often, they have to get dogs to emotionally support them. Which I think is very interesting, personally. Imagine having an emotional support dog as a cheetah, that you being all like, oh, there's all these scary humans around. And the dog being like, yes, but they are good humans. I'm here with you, little cheetah. Lay your head against my dog fur. And I will also be a cheetah. And they're so cute. Komodo dragon. Did you know they're rather poisonous? Komodo dragons are very... I'm an emotional support papa. You know, I could be an emotional support dog, chat. Congratulations, I am your emotional support streamer. We're here to support your emotions today. How are we feeling? How is the emotions? Fight to everyone at work. You want to be a cheetah's emotional support person? Yes. Yes, I understand that. Emotions are emoting. I feel that. Me too. My emotions are also here. Gene is writing fanfics again. I am not writing fanfics. I have never once written a single fanfic in my entire life. I actually have not written a single fanfic in my entire life. I refuse to. I will never do it. You can't make me. The emotions, yeah, they are lame. Why am I lame for not writing a fanfic? No. Tell me why I'm lame for not writing a fanfic. Why? I like writing stories. I write my own novels. That's like a fanfic of my own life, huh? Why? The characters have their own stories already. I don't need to write more stories for the characters. Asher, you cannot. I've never written a fanfic in my life. Yeah. Because I have no reason to write fanfics. People have their own stories, and I like writing my own characters. Why is it lame? Why should I do it? Why? Explain to me. Tell me. So rude to me. Lemon X Drywall, a bitter story. Lemon Voidling versus Drywall Voidling. Is that the two kinds of Voidlings? There's the ones that eat the wall fluff, and there's the ones that eat lemons. Bunch of goofies. So goofy. It is a good pun. Do Voidlings need to eat? No. Do they? Yes. There are two Voidlings inside of you. The lemon one and the drywall one. Voidlings do eat, but they don't need to eat. You're now cold? Ooh. Don't be cold. Get under a blanket. Relax. Vibe. Chill. Alright, lovelies. We are coming up on the end of stream. So I'm going to go ahead and see if we can find somebody to raid out to. Did y'all have a good time? How's everybody's vibe? How are we doing? Do you like the stickers? And do you like the questions? Good additions, bad additions? You're allowed to tell me, because I think they were fun. Good vibes? Nice. I have a clown streamer to watch. Have fun with your clown. Wait, who's the clown? I need to know who the clown is. Come back. Tell me about the clown. Gil Ryu. Let me look at them. Gil Ryu. Oh, I don't want to interrupt them. It looks like they're kind of they're watching something right now. Feels rude to interrupt, you know? Yeah, I drive home. Should we rate him? Oh, wait. I need to see something. I need to see if somebody specific is online. Aha, Croc is online. Oh, wait. Moo, you like Gil? Gil's good people? Fine, we'll raid Gil. Okay, we'll raid Gil. Gil Ryu. Y'all be super sweet, okay? Can we get the raid message, please? And don't forget your homework if you haven't filled it out yet. You want those stickers, don't you? Gonna unpin this. All right, lovelies. I had a fantastic time with all of you. Thank y'all for hanging out. Sorry the game was a bit odd, but yeah. Bye, lovelies. Mwah. 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 Copy the raid message and...